Hi families, Cassandra Hammond here from the EarlyON Valley East Center, for those of you who know me. For those of you who don't, thanks for tuning in to our Facebook page and joining our cooking program. So this program is offered every Friday morning at 10 o'clock. And here today at 10 o'clock a.m., what will we be making? We are going to be making some banana bread. But not only this simple banana bread recipe, with a secret ingredient added to it. So, what you will need is you will need 3 ripe bananas. So I have them already in the bowl just because the peels were getting pretty soft on them. So 3 ripe bananas. You will need some mayonnaise. You're going to need some baking soda. You will need some vanilla, some vegetable oil. You will need some salt, sugar, and flour. Now, this recipe that I usually do make at home is fairly simple. However, a few of the ingredients that were in the one that I make at home consist of applesauce and a few other ingredients that I felt that not everyone would have on their everyday shelf. So what I did is I went and replaced the applesauce with some mayonnaise, etc. So I'll be guiding you guys throughout the recipe just to kind of keep you guys in line with the mixtures and how to do it. So to begin, what you're going to do is you're going to grab your 3 bananas, you're going to peel them, and you're going to put them inside the bowl. Then, what you're going to do is you're going to mash them. So this time here, this is where I usually like to get my daughter to help me. She loves to mash things and mix things and crack the eggs and anything that has to do with textures, she loves. However, she's gone for a quad ride with her dad today. We're cleaning out the fire pit in the backyard, getting it all ready for fire season. I bet you guys are pretty anxious to get out and about too and camp and socialize again, get back to the normal. Okay, so I've gone ahead and we're gonna mix fast. And there we go. I love the smell of bananas. Okay, so we've gone ahead and we've mashed up our bananas. So the second step would be to preheat the oven. So I've already preheated my oven prior to starting this video. Just because I had started recording the video and then I had to go in and edit it, and then my tablet died. So this is the second version of the video, so we're going to try this again. So preheat the oven to 350. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add in the egg and the vanilla extract to the mixture of the mashed bananas. So for the vanilla extract, you're going to need a teaspoon. So I've gone ahead and I've grabbed my teaspoon, and we're just going to add that in there. You can add a little bit more just for a little bit of extra taste, depending on how sweet you want it to taste. So it's completely up to you. However, I like mine kind of like in between. We don't like too much sugar, but we like enough sweetness to it. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to crack the egg. This is usually the part that my daughter likes to do. So crack the egg. Try not to get any of the eggshells in there. It seems every time I've done that before, that's all I ever end up getting. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to mix this in again. And you want to blend it well, good enough that the egg is mixed in with the bananas. You don't want any clumps, any lumps. So just do your best to mix it in really good. Now what we're going to do in a separate bowl, we're going to combine the flour, sugar, baking soda, salt, and the chocolate chips, which is the secret ingredient that I forgot to mention. We are not only making regular banana bread today, but we are making a specialty chocolate chip banana bread. Something for the whole family to enjoy. I know every time I make this recipe, I usually have the first piece once it's baked, and then I usually wrap it and I put it away, and when I go back for seconds, my banana bread is all gone because my child and my boyfriend gets to it before I can. So that's all mixed up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the second bowl and we're going to combine the flour first. So what do we need here? The flour. The flour. Okay, so we need a cup and where are we here? sorry, 1.5 cups. 1.5 cup of all-purpose flour. Okay, so 1 into the bowl and about a half. There we go, 1.5 cups. So that takes care of the flour. Now, moving on to the next, what we're gonna need is we will need the salt. So we're gonna put in a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of salt. Okay, so I have my teaspoon here. I'm gonna put half. So half a teaspoon of salt. White sugar we need 3/4 cup. So I got my 3/4 cup right here, and we're just gonna go into it. And of course it's gonna be too small, but that's okay, because we make it work. All right, 3/4 cup. There we go. Level it out. I always like my cups to be completely level. There we go. 3/4 cup. Sugar away. We are done with you. Shoo. Now what we need is the baking soda and then the chocolate chips. Okay, so baking soda we need, I think it was a half teaspoon, eh? No, a teaspoon, sorry. Teaspoon of baking soda. I always find myself humming when I'm making recipes, especially when I'm alone in the house. Freedom! Okay, so now that that's done, I'm just gonna blend this in real quick, mix it up a little bit, and then what we'll do is we'll go in and we'll add the chocolate chips afterwards. Okay, so now that that's mixed up, I will add half a cup of chocolate chips. So, pour about half a cup. There we go. And then we're just gonna kind of mix it in. It'll separate it, it'll even it out, and then we can add it into the wet mixture. Okay, so, and I also forgot in the previous bowl, so if you guys still have your bowl on the side, I forgot to go ahead and add the mayo in. I'm so used to adding in the applesauce afterwards, but, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your mayonnaise and you're gonna add half a cup of mayonnaise to the mixture. Okay, so that's done. I'm gonna add half a cup and grab a spoon. There we go. So that is blended and that's all mixed properly. So I'm just gonna go back in with that and I'm just gonna mix in the mayonnaise to the mixture and even it out. And this will kind of give it like a sourdough taste to it, but what's really nice about it is the vanilla extract kind of acts up into it, and it'll give it the sweet taste. Okay, so now that we got that mixed, and we have our wet bowl, and then we have our dry bowl, we're gonna slowly mix in our dry bowl into our wet bowl. So I'm gonna start by adding about, we'll say half of the bowl. Whew, flour. So half of it, and just mixing it in. Now keep in mind too, is your dough will start to get pretty thick. You don't wanna over mix it, just because it's just like bread. You don't wanna over knead bread when you're kneading bread. So just gently mix it in until you get most of the white flour off the side of the bowl. There we go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and insert the last half of my bowl, as so. And just gently mix it in. You don't want to like stir too fast. You don't want to mix it in too much. So gently, just kind of toss it around like you're tossing a salad. And there we are. And it should kind of look something like this. Still pretty clumpy, but not too liquidy. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your loaf pan. I have these ones here. These are my favorite. I have a set of the loaf pan, and then I have the casserole pan, and then I have these little small dishes right here, and they are amazing. They're actually from Cake Boss. They're really good in the ceramic, so they can go right into the oven. Love them. So what you're gonna do is I like to use Pam. I used to use grease, like lard, before. My grandmother used to be a baker, and she used to bake a lot of cakes and butter tarts, so I kind of learned from the best, but however it does take a little bit longer to do. So to simplify our lives through this pandemic, we are going to be using some Pam Original. So you're just going to spray the inner line. There we go. Well greased. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to kind of scrape your bowl and allow it to flow into your pan here. 1 second here. I will just bring you guys down a little bit so you guys can see how I'm doing it. You're just going to gently let it flow in. As so. There we go. Perfect. Now that that's done. So what I usually like to do is I like to usually just go on the top of it. Just gently grab the top of your fork and just spread it out evenly. And it just kind of allows to have less bumps on one side. And there we have it. We have our banana bread that's ready to go into the oven. So hang tight, stay with me, and we will be back for the final result. Also, prior to putting it into the oven, don't forget that when you're putting it into the oven, what you want to do is you want to allow your oven to properly preheat to 350 degrees. And then what you're going to do is you're going to insert it into the oven and cook it for about 60 to 70 minutes. That being said, if you want to check it in between, that's fine. However, make sure that when you're checking it, that you're using a toothpick. If your toothpick comes out clean, it means that it's ready. I usually check the center of it. So onwards with putting it into the oven, and we will be back for the final result.